It could be big blow and in fact a big trouble brewing for Mayawati. The Supreme Court has admitted a case against the BSP chief, and this means that essentially it's going to be hearing the disproportionate asset case against the BSP chief Mayawati. In fact, Rhythm is reporting on that story. Rhythm, what really has happened?
Well, this case had come up 2 years back. Now the Supreme Court is once again examining Mayawati's DA case. Remember earlier, a 2-year-old petition in the Supreme Court is seeking the reopening of the DA case against BSP chief Mayawati. This could heat up before the Uttar Pradesh elections ahead of 2017 elections. Today what has happened is the court heard arguments from both the sides. The court has now admitted the case against Mayawati. This was in cold storage for the past 2 years, but once again, just before the 2017 elections, this case is going to be heard in the top court against Mayawati. Some can see this as a setback for her because she obviously didn't want the reopening of the disproportionate assets case. What's interesting is the CBI in fact supported the BSP chief. Even earlier in an affidavit, they have supported the BSP chief, and they said that there is no reason for the reopening of the case as this matter has already been decided before the High Court. Interestingly, the Attorney General of India appeared for the CBI. He opposed any further investigation in the DA case against Mayawati. This is a stand that has been taken consistently by the CBI since the last 2 years. However, there was one comment made from the petitioner's lawyer, Kamini Jaiswal, who said, earlier, the government did not challenge this. It depends upon what time these orders come. The timing is very important. The CBI had opposed this earlier. Now the CBI is saying this. So even as we're seeing, this battle of words breaking out between the petitioner, between the CBI counsel, the Attorney General, as well as the Mayawati's counsel, K.K. Venugopal, in the top court, the fact is the Supreme Court has for now admitted this particular petition. That is, it will come up for hearing in the top court. DA case of Mayawati is once again reopened in the top court. Going to be seen as a setback for Mayawati.
Okay, and Rhythm, here the petitioner also wanted the registration of an FIR against Mayawati on the basis of certain material evidence in the Taj corridor scam probe. Is that also something that the court has agreed to for the moment?
There are two types of FIRs that have earlier been registered against Mayawati DC. One was on the Taj corridor case. That particular case has been decided. There is a judgment on that. So that part is not going to be reopened. The other part is the DA case that is dealing with Mayawati's disproportionate assets allegedly from 1995 to 2003. That is the FIR that they want then reopened, and they want an investigation in this entire thing. And FIR to be registered in the DA case from 1995 to 2003. That is what the Supreme Court is now going to see. In her reply in the Supreme Court, she has said, in fact, that this is a politically motivated petition. But the point is going to be seen as crystal clear that the Supreme Court today, after hearing arguments from both the sides, has admitted the case. It will hear in detail on the DA case.
Yes, and Rhythm, because you did mention, the political aspect here, because it was during an earlier hearing, I remember that it was Mayawati's counsel which had told the court that Akhilesh Yadav could actually, reopen this entire case only because of political vengeance very close to elections.
Yes, but Deepti, the Supreme Court in that aspect is a very pertinent aspect that you mentioned. The Supreme Court said, irrespective of whoever's opening the case, the point is there any substance to these allegations that have been made? That's what the court was really looking at. It said we're not talking about the malafide of the person who's come to us, because that is one of the arguments raised by Mayawati today in the court. The Supreme Court just said, let us find out facts. Let us find out if the allegations are correct. That being the focus point, the Supreme Court has admitted the petition to be heard.
Okay, and Rhythm, when we say that, also explain this to us. Is there a certain amount of new evidence, anything new perhaps that has been put out before the Supreme Court, when the Supreme Court actually has dwelled on this entire subject?
In fact, not really, Deepti, because it's a 2-year-old petition. It was pending before the Supreme Court. Even 2 years back, it wanted opening of the DA case, but clearly just before Uttar Pradesh elections, it seems that...
Yes, Rhythm, I'll just request you to hold that phone line with us. Gaurav Bhatia now of the Samajwadi Party with us on the phone line. Gaurav, how do you look at this entire, issue now panning out? The Supreme Court has admitted, a reinvestigation now into this entire case. Mayawati's counsels, in fact, have been telling the court that it's your government which could be using this matter only for political vengeance.
It is a well-known fact that in the last 12 years of public life of Mayawati's political career, she has shown in her affidavit that her assets have increased multifold, in fact more than 50 times. And this was a subject of investigation by the CBI, and there were two cases that were registered. One was the Taj corridor, and the other was a case of disproportionate assets. In both, somehow, it seems that, due to the political support that was required from the BSP, the then government had supported. And therefore, today, the Supreme Court has passed an order that they would give it a relook. And I think it's a welcome sign. It needs to be judicially scrutinized because the earlier order giving relief to the Mayawati was only on a technical ground.
So Gaurav, you're obviously alleging some bit of political interference then, which happened earlier. Now, what about the timing? You do not believe that the timing here is crucial because Mayawati and her council certainly do.
I'm sorry, can you repeat your question, please?
Gaurav, I was asking about the timing. Now, this comes just on the drop of the elections that, the Uttar Pradesh is in fact going to see about next year. And Mayawati and her councils believe that this is some bit of political vendetta that we've already seen from the governments. And this time the finger is pointing towards your party.
No, I would only say that CBI has been politically misused and abused even by the earlier government, and this government is no different. And whenever they require political support, then there is always an understanding and then there is support by the ruling party. And I've been told that the stand taken by the CBI council today also was that there is no need to drag the case. Such stands are not taken when cases of ordinary citizens are heard. But when political persons, especially like Mayawati, are in the fray, then such stands are taken. So I think, it is most unfortunate. And leader of Samajwadi Party, Mr. Mulayam Singh Yadav, was in fact targeted by the CBI. In a frivolous PIL that was filed. And that is how I am saying that it is most unfortunate that these institutions, which should be autonomous and independent, are abused by the party that is in power.